Greetings to one and all. You are listening to MMJC Podcast. As we are all aware, the new financial year has just begun, and with this new beginning, we have new challenges and new rotation of compliance cycle. The first key event of this compliance cycle to come up in April is the first board meeting of the company for the new financial year. As we are aware, one of the crucial agendas in the such first board meeting is to obtain disclosure of interest in other entities from directors in Form MBP1. In this edition of podcast, we will discuss about the format of Form MBP1 and some additions required to be made in such format. As we know, Section 184(1) of Companies Act 2013 requires all the directors of the company to disclose their interest in the form of directorship, shareholding or otherwise in all the companies, body corporates and association of individuals. There are two main purposes of obtaining such disclosures. The first one being identifying all such entities wherein the directors may have potential conflict of interest, and second being to identify the related parties of the company. If we refer to the format of Form MBP1 prescribed under Rule 9 of Companies Meetings of Board and its Powers Rules, we observe that the format requires the disclosures of names of all the companies, body corporates and association of individuals wherein the director is interested, the nature of his interest or concern, his shareholding, and the date on which such interest or concern arose or changed. But the format of Form MBP1 does not speak about the entities such as Hindu undivided families and societies wherein the directors may have any kind of interest. Therefore, the directors may miss out on reporting about such entities in the disclosure in Form MBP1. Further, there is a reference in Section 184 about holding 2% or more interest in any of the companies or body corporates. Also in format of Form MBP1, there is a column for disclosure of shareholding. This gives an apprehension that the director is required to disclose his interest only in such entities where he has 2% or more shareholding. Therefore, if a director is director in any other company but does not hold 2% or more shares in such company, then the disclosure of such interest may not get covered in disclosures under Form MBP1. But if we refer to the definition of related parties mentioned under Section 2 subsection 76, we may see that any other private company wherein the director of our company is a director is our related party. But going by the above analogy, if the director does not mention the name of such private company in Form MBP1 just for the reason that he does not have any shareholding in such company, then the company will not be in the position to identify such missed out related party. Therefore, the prescribed format of Form MBP1 is little ambiguous and does not provide for exhaustive list of columns which can lead the directors to provide to the company complete list of entities wherein the directors may have conflict of interest. Also, the information provided under this form is not sufficient to identify all possible related parties through a particular director. For example, if we refer to the definition of related parties under Section 2 subsection 76, it includes relatives of directors, firms wherein the relatives of directors are partners, and private companies wherein the relatives of directors are directors or members. However, Section 184(1) does not require the directors to disclose the list of his relatives and the entities wherein such relatives have conflict of interest. Also, the Form MBP1 does not require the directors to provide list of entities wherein his relatives hold any kind of interest. Therefore, the director is under no obligation to disclose to the company the list of his relatives and their interest in other firms or entities. Hence, the company may not be able to identify the individuals who become related parties of the company by virtue of their relationships with the directors of the company and also the entities who become related parties of the company for the reason that the relatives of directors of the company hold any kind of interest in such entities. After considering all these factors, we realize that the purpose of taking disclosure of interest from the directors of the company is not completely but partially serving the purpose. Therefore, it is recommended that some additions be made to the format of Form MBP1 prescribed by MCA so that the form completely serves the purpose and the companies are able to identify all the related parties related to a company through its directors. Companies may add to the basic list of entities prescribed in MBP1 some more entities such as HUFs and societies wherein the directors have interest, and also the entities wherein the relatives of directors have any kind of interest. Also, the company may request the directors to give their disclosure of their interests irrespective of their shareholding in any such entity. Further, the directors may also provide list of their relatives and list of entities wherein such relatives are interested. This will increase the utility of Form MBP1 for the companies, as it will provide the companies the details of maximum possible related parties and all the entities wherein the directors of the company may have potential conflict of interest. However, if the companies desire to change or modify the format of Form MBP1, they may face a question that whether they are allowed to modify such format prescribed by MCA, who is the regulator and administrating authority. But the answer to this question is very much simple and straightforward. The format prescribed by MCA has been designed to comply with the minimum requirements prescribed by Section 184. If the company as a good corporate governance wants to collate any additional information from the directors, it can always do so. The company can always add rows and columns to the format of Form MBP1 to collate more information. However, what it cannot do is that it cannot delete any rows or columns mandatorily prescribed under format. That is, it cannot ask for any less information as provided by the Section 184 and the format of Form MBP1. As discussed at the beginning, the companies are on the verge of conducting their first board meeting and getting the Form MBP1 filled and signed from its directors. Therefore, this is the best time for the companies to review the format of Form MBP1 and prescribe to its directors a modified format in order to gain maximum possible information from its directors and help in exhaustive identification of related parties.